What does it say on this one? What? Are you trying to scare me or something? You better watch out. What goes around comes around, buddy. No! Yukari-chan! We're going to get everyone. No! Yukari-chan! Not like this. No! Yukari-chan!
Are you trying to hit me?
No! Can anyone help?
Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Persona 3 Remake. I'm happy to dive deep into this game. Let's check it out, see how well it did, if it was a good remake or not. So let's start out. We're going to talk about gameplay. Very important for a game, obviously. But yeah, no, I definitely have enjoyed the gameplay loop of these games in particular, all the Persona games. Definitely, if you played Persona 5, you'll feel very familiar here. Turn-based. Definitely pretty addicting to me. But yeah, it feels pretty satisfying though overall. And it's still, I would say, relatively challenging in respective to the original. It's definitely easier, and we'll talk about more particular elements for why it is easier, and just kind of I did play as a Merciless, the hardest difficulty, so... And I would definitely say I did die a few number of times, but... Yeah, I remember I played the original on normal, and I died way more. To their credit, though, they did make some fights harder, and obviously I'm not going to spoil that for the sake of spoiling the game, but they did, they do make some of the fights a little bit harder, making them a little more powerful, so it's not just, oh, it's flat out easier, but it's still, I would say, overall easier than the original. But the good news is, though, is that if you don't want to play on the hardest difficulty, there are definitely plenty of difficulty options there. So if you want to just kind of chill and not like be too stressed out about the game, you can play on like, I think there's an easy and normal, merciful, I think? Yeah. And of course there's hard. One thing about Merciless, though, is probably not recommended to do that in a second playthrough, because then you're not going to get the stuff which that's beneficial with New Game Plus, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Anyway, let's get the gameplay in general. So, you're going to have equipment that I was just going through that is kind of important to kind of make sure you stay alive. Big thing with this gameplay, with turn-based, with this game in particular, these kind of games in general, hit their weaknesses. That is very important, especially on higher difficulties when things are a lot tankier. Because those weaknesses, if you hit them, they'll go down pretty quickly. That's the one benefit of that. If you remember Persona 5, there was one boss fight where turning it up to the hardest difficulty was actually the thing to do to beat the boss easier. Pretty funny how they can do that. But yeah, you have weaknesses and stuff there. And with those weaknesses, you gotta be very careful with your own party. Because like I said, especially on higher difficulties, you're gonna have to watch out for your party dying. Because, yeah, sorry Yukari, but oof, she get killed real quick if you're not careful monitoring your other party members' weaknesses. And your own, for that matter, too. You can die very quickly with that if you're not careful. You have all kinds of, like, attacks you can use. Slash, strike, pierce, fire, electricity, wind, ice, light, dark, and of course the Almighties, which is definitely later game, but we are not later game, which is pretty funny because one thing about the Golden Hands in the original was if they got to a wall, they were gone. Like, you were not going to catch them, but in this game, they will run around a little bit before they disappear, which is one nice thing about it for sure. And another thing that makes it easier, especially later game, is when you'll get access to like more SP, of course. As you level up, you'll get more, but also you get access to a clock, which is very powerful. And to access this clock, you're gonna need Twilight Fragments, which you get, which is a new gameplay element, which you get from just scouring the floor. They'll be glowing blue, unlike the ones which are not that, obviously. But yeah, you'll gather those, and you can open up some chests on these random floors. Those ones will tend to drop like random skill cards, some useful-ish items. Obviously, barriers go up, and then the mini-boss floors, those ones tend to drop good stuff, which is very nice. Yeah, they tend to drop some good gear and stuff, and of course the Monad Doors ones, which I'll talk about in a little bit here. We're gonna hold off on it for a second, but yeah, so that's definitely a nice little gameplay element they have added. And to piggyback off new gameplay features, one of the big ones is theurgies, which you'll definitely see plenty of those here. Might even show one now, but yeah, those are pretty useful in combat. They can be very strong attacks or just some good buffs for your party members, which can definitely save your butt. It definitely saved my butt a few times, and of course those theurgies go through any kind of resistances too, so. And those are pretty nice. And you can also, this is new as well, you can buff up the character, each individual's, with personality traits that you get outside of Tartarus, which you can do, and there's certain activities you do with party members, like cooking. Oh my god, look at Mitsuru. Woo! Didn't know I had a fetish for that. Anyway, but yeah, no, you got different activities like cooking, gardening, reading, and doggo brushing him. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it definitely gives you more to do outside, which we'll get more into what you do outside in a second here. Just want to get through the main gameplay first. And speaking of that, we also have Shift, which is basically just baton pass. So if you hit a weakness, like we kind of did there, albeit multiple enemies, you know, you have to go through. But yeah, you can shift and you can just heal, kind of buff, do that kind of stuff. It's fun. It's definitely a fun system. Be a little bit powerful if you know how to use it well, but yeah, definitely some fun little elements for sure. And a fun element that has been kind of changed also throughout this one is card shuffle. That's been reworked basically, where, well, firstly, let's start off with this. So the regular cards, they're still there, but now you just get to pick which one. And obviously there are new cards that have gotten put into this that you get. And this is why I waited a little bit to talk about the Monad Doors, because that's where you get some of these cards, and certain bosses will drop new ones as well. So that's something to look forward to if you with beating new bosses and stuff. And a lot of these cards, there's one right there on the screen for you. It'll, like Magician, there's some ones that are more useful than others for sure. Definitely there are some useful reflection ones later on. Definitely late game, but yeah, there's definitely some cool ones with that. There's definitely some motivation to keep coming back in here, because there's some cards that are useful for buffing up your personas, giving you more HP, SP. So there's definitely some nice cards. Does make the game a little bit easier, especially grind, but at least it does give you more motivation to go into grind instead of just being like, oh, I went in here, I'm just gonna come in here once and then just do everything outside. Now it's at least a little more motivation to come in here instead of just kind of doing it just to get through the floor and get the stuff done and just make sure you're properly leveled for the boss, and that's it, you know? A little more motivation there. But it's also kind of iffy. The cards, those unique cards in particular, are very kind of iffy when it comes to the drop. Not only drop rate, but which ones you'll get, so definitely can be a little bit annoying if you're really looking for a certain one. The Devil one I would recommend personally. That one's really good for grinding. But yeah, let's talk about Monad doors since I just mentioned that. So these doors have some bosses that you might have previously fought, well, mini bosses more so. And just some kind of unique ones. There's ones on just random floors you'll see throughout Tartarus. I'll try to maybe include one here. Hopefully I remember to do that. But yeah, no, there's those, and those ones... They're definitely easier than the ones on the kind of like below the border floor, but yeah, those ones will drop you like some kind of necessary gems and stuff for weapon making, which is definitely important later game. Absolutely, that's where to get the good weapons. And then of course you have the ones kind of one level below the border floor. Again, hopefully I include one of those as well. But yeah, those ones will drop some gear, some new cards and stuff if you complete them all, because there's multiple fights for those as well. You got multiple fights you're going through. Some outfits as well, I forgot that too. Yeah, and those are like really, like it takes so long to get. Like that's the one thing that's kind of a little annoying. It's like you're waiting the whole game to get these outfits, and it's just like I want to use them now. I want to use them earlier, because it's like cool. I got like them like towards the end, but it's like man, I'm not doing a lot. That's kind of one thing I'm a little bit annoyed about with that. But yeah, the ones on the floor below, those are definitely more challenging. They definitely require a certain strategy, which is how they were designed, which is pretty nice. There's some where, oh, using poison is the good way to go, or, oh, maybe going for crits, you know, or, you know, just some kind of certain concepts. Protecting yourself from ailments, that's also one that I've had to deal with. Oh, those are a nightmare. But yeah, no, those are definitely interesting fights. Definitely adds a little more to Tartarus, because like I said, it's just basically Tartarus is the only dungeon with that. So, definitely adding a little more elements. I mean, albeit, if you looked at the original, like, Portable in particular, because that had some new stuff, which... some of it's gone. Like the Margaret fight and stuff and all that, that's gone. Albeit it's kind of replaced the Monad doors with those fights, but obviously the Margaret one is gone, if you know about that. And then, yeah, that whole other little thing, like that just good for leveling is gone here too. Kind of a little disappointing about that one, albeit if you really want to do some late game grinding, just farm the Reaper. It's actually very effective. Hopefully I remember to put that in here too. Because that is just ridiculous. Oh my god, dude. You just Armageddon that thing and you frickin' just get it. I know you lose all your SP and stuff, but it's very fun. And yeah, it's definitely a little broken. Just for extremely quick grind at level 99, I'll tell you. Speaking of leveling, though, one nice thing about this game that they did from the original, because it still has the same leveling, like you only level up the people that you play in your party, but there is a great clock, and if you spend Twilight Fragments on chests on the floor, you have a chance to get this clock to appear. When you go inside of it, you can pick 2 people, and after the next successful fight with them alive, they get to be basically like jumped to your level, which is very nice for, you know, people that you haven't used a lot, and then you kind of want to, because that was definitely a problem with the original one, was that problem of, oh, if you didn't really use that character, then it's like, I can't really use them anymore, unless I want to just kind of go with them in there for like a while. But yeah, that was definitely one nice thing they added from the original, was the grand clock. I don't know, it's just a clock, whatever they want to call that thing. Yeah, and then another part of Tartarus that has changed is kind of the randomly generated floors. And while when you go in initially, they will be randomly generated, but once you like maybe go down and then back through, they'll be the same. Which was different than the original, because the original, it was just randomly generated. You could go on the same floor twice in that one in the same day, and it'd be a completely different design. Which is just not the case there, so I like this music, by the way. I'll talk about the music briefly later. But yeah, no, it's good and bad in a way. The good part is that it's good for farming gold hands, which forgot to mention also. You got greedy hands now, which is new, and those are usually one a block or half a block. And yeah, they'll like gobble up all the loot on the floor, and you kill them, you get all the loot and that stuff. To track them down, though, it's very RNG based. You're kind of leaving it up to your ability to guess correctly, or maybe a party member can help out. Once you get Fuka leveled up, though, enough, she could just track it down. Use a little bit of SP and track it down. Which, yeah, that's definitely good for grinding kind of early mid-game is the hands for sure. That's definitely good. And yeah, obviously with that randomly, you know, the chests don't regenerate. There's like little like hands in the ground that'll regenerate. You get like some little items like lots of freaking stones. Life stones, if you like those, you'll get those. And then the soul drops. Those are like the big ones that I would mainly use through that. And yeah, something else to mention is the grind can be a lot, especially because these games are already really long. Like, and for some people, look, I don't mind, I will play it. You'll get your money's worth with the time you put in, but yeah, the grind can be a lot, particularly late game grinding, because to try to get those stupid rubies for that gear that I talked about with making weapons at the antique shop. Hopefully I'm ever to put something like that in there, show you how that works. But yeah, rubies are extremely hard to get from like the monad chests when you defeat those. And there's some enemies that drop rubies, but the chance of that is pretty low too. And if you don't have the devil card that I mentioned, you're gonna take a while to get the amount you need to get those weapons. And obviously, you don't necessarily need to do that grinding to get through the game. If you just want to get through the game, you could probably just do the basic amount, and you'll probably be fine. You probably don't need to put all that time in, but it's still something to keep in mind. It's definitely kind of a maybe you'll find it fine, maybe you won't. I don't have a problem with it, but again, that's just something to kind of take, because this game took a while. I mean, like I said, these games usually are over 100 hours. I mean, maybe you get through it faster, but you're rushing through all the dialogue and stuff. You gotta enjoy the game. And it's just, yeah, trying to rush through that is just not very fun. But with that being said, I know that's not appealing to everybody, but I definitely find it enjoyable. So we first talked about the main combat. Now let's talk about the other part, which is socializing and stuff, which is extremely important in building up your social stats, of course. But I want to start with the social links, because those are, I'd still say they're enjoyable. Most of the general stories there's some that have changed, some that I didn't really notice until I looked it up, so I don't really like counting that. But then there's others that I remembered quite fondly in the original, and then yeah, it's just they got kind of reworked and changed. I'll talk more about the negatives of that, but the biggest change that I'll mention here first is obviously the system of the women now, because in the original game you just dated anybody basically once you got to a certain level with them, or woman. But yeah, now it's just, now there's the friend, which I mean, it's been in 4 and 5 and it's fine in those, because it's more so 3 was not designed with that really in mind from the get-go, so it just feels kind of a little weird now. I know some people say, oh, there's like social cues and stuff to determine what kind of route that they'll be more leaning towards, but again, you know, that's just the thing. It wasn't really designed with that, so just when you get to that moment where you say, yes, I'll date you, or no, it just feels weird now. It's just kind of weird. You know, it's not it's just not very well done here in that aspect of it. It's a fine system in general, but it was better in 4 and 5 in that regard. But one system about the social links that is better is the reverse system in that, because now you don't have to worry about reversing if you're talking to multiple women at the same time now, because that was a problem in the original. You had to focus on one woman and get that done. You don't have to do it in this one. Reversing is definitely a lot harder to do. It's still here in some aspects. It's still, that aspect of social links is still here, but it's more difficult to do it. You have to obviously pick the wrong social dialogue option when the time comes. It's not that common though, so as long as you just know what you're doing now, you'll probably be fine. And speaking of also the social links, the time to get them done is a little tight. It is definitely tight. I got most of them done, except like, I think 4, and they were all at 8. So, pacing is fine. Obviously, New Game Plus, you'll just get them all done. But yeah, pace of it's fine overall when it comes to that. But yeah, but also you got the social stats. This one has only 3: academics, charm, and courage, which of course kind of important for getting social links, but some quests outside of Tartarus, which that is another thing that Elizabeth, just the house resident basically, will give you stuff to do outside that you'll require maybe high enough courage or high enough charm and stuff to do. So you got to be able to get these stats to be able to do that, and there are a lot of ways to build up these social stats. You can eat food. Yep, you can literally eat food to build it up. Funny. There's questions in class you can answer. That'll help. Doing well on tests particularly helps with your charm. Computer, you got some stuff that you can buy from there's like a little internet cafe store or whatever. You can buy CDs and stuff that you can use on the computer to help build with that. And that's also another thing with that too. I'm just gonna is that there are some useful stuff on the computer that can help you in Tartarus as well. So that is just something to keep in mind, obviously, and just some stuff outside too that you can get. I'll spoil one of them where you can just get some extra drinks from a machine if you use it. So obviously part-time jobs are a good way to build up those skills and get some money. And there's some certain activities and some certain social links as well. It's particularly with the male ones where you get that improvement. And obviously a good way to improve yourself inside of Tartarus is getting some good gear. I obviously talked about the antique shop. The police station's a good place, especially early. You don't have a lot of stuff or have access to it. It's definitely a good place to go to for that. Or maybe if you don't have gear that you can make right now, but you just want to get your party something a little bit better than what you got, and that's what you can do. And of course, a change with the antique shop is you don't have to wait days now for it to be made. It'll just be made right then and there, which I like that. And of course, you got shops, you got of course the pharmacy and stuff. Some other places that you can get stuff. Gardening, I talked about that briefly. You can obviously get certain crops to put up in the garden, which gets you some useful items, obviously. Better later. But just, I definitely think the pace of that when it comes to getting the gear is good. It's not getting too OP stuff early. Obviously, New Game Plus, you can just destroy everything, but that's okay. That's totally normal. That's fine, in my opinion, but yeah, definitely overall, I'd say the gameplay's got a lot to like, and it's all encompassed in a wonderful UI that absolutely looks breathtaking. I will say, though, for the fights, though, it can be a little bit annoying, especially trying to get through all the items. Not ideal. Sometimes, though, they put up the ones that you probably would want to use there, but sometimes not. So that can be a little bit of an annoyance. But yeah, overall, I like the gameplay. It's a lot of fun. Definitely would say it's an improvement over the original. Obviously, it's definitely an acquired taste, because like I said, you got the balance of the gameplay and then the social stuff, so it can feel pretty kind of slow at times, just kind of gradual, but Yeah, definitely something that you should keep in mind if you're considering buying this or not. Obviously, if you are a Persona fan, you probably would have bought it, but yeah, gameplay, I'd say it's good, and I'd say it's an improvement over the original. And one thing I want to talk about real quick, and I'm showing it on the screen right now before we move on to the story, is obviously making personas. I showed a little bit of it, but and talked little bits and pieces about that. But yeah, obviously here you can inherit certain skills, which, I mean, there's obviously some good builds. I am not the guy to look for if you want like some insane kind of crazy OP builds. I know a lot of people like to do some ice builds where they just completely just freeze everything and just destroy it with like a massive powerful attack, or just buff up the All Might just to wipe out everything on the planet. And of course there's like some skills that you can get if you play around with like changing skills. Magic Mastery and Almighty Amp are two that you can't get normally through the game. So those ones you have to kind of grind, or kind of just make personas and just kind of hope you get lucky to put it on one. And yeah, that's probably the most difficult part, especially since some of them you can't really transfer to other personas. That is one thing, you can't just put any skill on any. It's a pretty good system though. This has been in for many Persona games and Shin Megami Tensei games as well. It works very good, so I don't really have anything bad to say about it. Obviously, I would just play around with it, figure out what you want to make, you know. I'm not gonna be the guy for the best builds, but definitely play around with that. I like crits, though. I'm just gonna tell you, I really love crits. Bloody Charge, Evolution, hello. Yeah, I do love crits. But yeah, no, poison builds are pretty good. It's definitely good to have a variety, though. And that is obviously the fruit of the labor of all the social links and stuff. So I just wanted to mention that before we get to the story here. So now, with that in mind, how about the story? Because that's another big part of the game. And while I'm not going to get into exact details of how things go and like critique particular stuff like that with this, it's definitely got a lot of dark moments in it, and it's got lots of ups and downs. Definitely very good for emotional impact, to say the least. Definitely lots of fun moments throughout the game with your team and all that. It's definitely a lot of fun. Definitely got that, like I said, that thing. And, you know, getting through all the good and bad, man. Oof. And definitely a lot of thought-provoking throughout it. Definitely a lot of good lessons throughout it. I'm not going to get into too much. It's best for you to just kind of experience it for yourself. I definitely like this story more than any of the Persona games. It's one of my favorite stories in general, which is definitely very high regard for me. I definitely love my story games. But I will say that they did take an element out, and that is the female MC, which some people complain about. I actually don't care. Oh, wait, hold on. Ken, what do you want to say about it? Nice job. Well, thank you, Ken, for that insight. Anyway, though, joking aside, there is a mod for that that works pretty well. It's not perfect, but if you wanted that, I guess you could do that. Yeah, and obviously there's also a little few new things that just kind of like fill it out a little bit more with explaining some kind of characters, kind of get you a little bit of a better understanding of the situation they're in and stuff. I'm not going to get into too much detail. It's nice change. It's a nice little addition to it. And yeah, like I said, great story, one of my favorites, bar none of anything that I've played. Very few can get on this level of it, so definitely had fun with this story for sure. Alright, now let's start with talking about the graphics of this game, and oh my goodness.
Hey, baby. What are you doing?
Joking aside, though. Oh, man. Yeah, the graphics in this game actually surprised me. Like, I was thinking, it's gonna look probably about on the level of Persona 5, but kind of blue. But it actually looked pretty good. Like, I was actually really, like, it looked really nice. I'm gonna have a side-by-side comparison right here, though, to show you an issue I had with the game, though. If it's in borderless window mode, the resolution gets all messed up and it just looks terrible. Show side-by-side, hopefully somewhere, while all of this talking. But yeah, no, the environments are fantastic. Like I said, all the Tartarus stuff looks really great. Especially some of the later, like, floors, oh man, they look really good. Just the whole, throughout all the environments, the school, the mall, the station, like, they all look really good in this game. Like, I was pleasantly surprised about that. It made me very happy that... And then keep in mind, the game runs on older consoles, too. And oh yeah, let me mention before I get on performance, because I do want to talk about performance, because, yeah, important for a game, but... You do have a cool little reflection feature. We're going to add another comparison here. Albeit my system can't run it very well. You probably want a ray tracing capable GPU. I don't know how mine can do it, but... I mean, it can do it. There's only, like 2 areas, like Pavlina Mall. Hopefully I said that right. And then, of course, the entrance to Tartarus. Those are the only 2 places where that ray trace reflections happen. Otherwise, it's just the standard stuff they've done in the other games, so... And obviously, if you don't have a capable GPU that can do it at all, it'll just default to either having screen space reflections on or off, so... It's just kinda... It looks great, though. I mean, I wish I could run it, but yeah, no, I love the graphics of the game. And one last note on the graphics before performance. The animations look great. Like, they do little animation cutscenes. Those are fantastic look at, obviously, compared to the old one. Come on now. Like, I would hope so. It's, what, 18 years apart? 16 if you count FES, but yeah. Those look great. Alright. And the performance, there's a lot to like with that, too. Especially... So you're not trying to do ray tracing. I mean, my 1080, I mean, it's definitely an entry-level GPU at this point. Yeah, no, like, I played the game, pretty much everything besides that maxed out, 150% resolution scale of 1080p, and got good 70 to 80 FPS. Which is, yeah, looks great and plays great, that's a great combination, but that is one thing to keep in mind, though, so that this game does run on previous-gen consoles, so like the PS4, Xbox One, and, I mean, I guess the Switch. That's kind of a joke when it comes to performance. That's going to definitely handicap games in the future if they have to design their games around that hardware. I mean, it's definitely nice, though, to have a game that can run this well. I mean, you look at a lot of games nowadays, man, it's just... They're so taxing on the GPU and the CPU now, for that matter. So now you freaking need, like, a top-of-the-line CPU, too. It's just like, oh my goodness. For some of these games. Like, of course, City Skylines 2 and Dragon Age Dogma 2. I just wanted to roast those games a little bit because they were horribly optimized. But, yeah, no, I loved the performance. It was great. Runs pretty good on modest hardware. 1080 being modest stuff. Half the time is 100, but yeah. It's definitely modest for today's standards. But, yeah, no, you can play this game easily with nowhere near as powerful hardware as I had. It's definitely nice. I'm grateful for that. And now, let me tell you about the music. And if you've been listening, I've been playing all the songs in the background of this video, but man, I'll tell you, everybody loves the music in these games. I'll tell you, like, I'll get people that stop in that don't really play these games or really are, like, a big fan of them, and they always say how amazing music is. And there's no denying that the music is amazing. Like, I mean, you just listen to it. In terms of how it was done in this one, I really liked the new songs they did. I think those were like the key highlights, because obviously it just fits her voice better. And it's just, yeah. It's not to say that she still didn't do a decent enough job on the older ones, but there's no denying that I like the original singer for those ones. But yeah, man, I mean, what else is there? I don't really have... I'm not, like, a music critic, so I'm like... It's good. It's great. That's all I can say. But yeah, no, I like the ones in this one. meaning armbands color your night. This one's really good too. Full Moon, Full Life. A lot of them are just good. Definitely good to just kind of get those in this playlist and just enjoy them as you're doing other stuff. That's what I do. And that's been making this review a lot more tolerable too. But yeah, there's definitely a good mix of music though. Definitely you got a little bit of your rap, your pop, you got a little bit of rock in there too as well. It's pretty good. It's just great. Great music. All I got to say, there's nothing else. Well, on the topic of sound, let's go to the voice acting / the kind of dialogue, because we'll be listening to that a bit. And you do get to listen more, because they voice more lines in the social links and dialogue throughout the story now, which is nice. That part of it's nice. That's probably the most positive part, but when it comes to the voice acting itself, well, it's okay, I guess. It's not as great as the original. So, to illustrate this, we're going to play the infamous scene from Portable, which is basically the same voice acting from the original 3, and then Reload, and you're going to get to listen. So, let's get those up here.
Yo, Yucatan.
Yo, Yucatan.
This is a tough case, even for Junpei Iori, ace detective.
Ace detective? Are you stupid or something? More like stupe, ace defective.
Hey! Yo, Yucatan. Man, this is a tough case, even for Junpei Iori, ace detective.
Ace detective? You're so dumb. More like stupe, ace defective.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, and if we notice from those clips there, we can see that, I don't know, there's just a lot more sass from Yukari in the original. And I don't know, I just have a softer spot for those older voice actors. Like, they just did a better job with kind of emotion in that voice style. And that's mostly with the main characters as well. Like, there's a lot of that issue as well. So it kind of makes me a little disappointed that, I mean, like I said, they're okay. Like, it's not like, oh, it's gonna be horrible to listen to, but it's definitely just not as good of a fit. I mean, it's not all bad. Like I said, the side characters, pretty good. Bebe was pretty good. A lot of them, for the most part, were pretty well done. Elizabeth is still Elizabeth, so that sounded great. And, yeah, you know, it's just kind of frustrating, because you'll notice, if you pay attention with your keen little ears, Yukari's voice from the original is still in this game. Her voice is still in this game. She's just kind of taking more kind of side roles, like the antique shop and the maids, and just kind of some other little roles here and there. So yeah, it's just, it was disappointing, because usually I played these in English and they're pretty good, and I even listened to clips of 4 and 5, and those were pretty good as well. So it's a little disappointing. You think, oh, they'd be pretty good, because usually they are for these games, but it was just kind of meh. So, albeit it's not a deal breaker, it's still fine. I mean, there's still some funny moments, and we'll get one in here.
Oh, that's not what I meant. Junpei-san said you don't have any other layers.
Other layers? Wow, you just a great role model for Amada-kun.
No, wait! Ouch!
Anyway, though, when it comes to the dialogue, the dialogue itself, there's a lot of changes here, and I'll get more into depth about it later, but I'll give it, like, a little snippet. It's fine, like, the story still is there, it's not gonna completely destroy that, it's just gonna be little snippets, like, there's gonna be changes. I definitely want to get more deep into the changes of the dialogue, because there's definitely a lot more than I think a lot of people expected, me included. So, but in short, the changes are not going to ruin the game for you. You're still going to enjoy it, especially if you never saw the original, but there's definitely moments that are not as enjoyable as they were in the original, which, let's get to the problems with the remake. Alright guys, so you're probably wondering what we're doing on Steam to start off the problems with the remake. Well, we're just gonna take a look here at their page. Pops right up. Oh look, what's that? Oh, let's first open it up. Okay, that's not my birthday actually, it's random crap. Okay, you know, it's pretty well reviewed, you know, yeah, pretty reasonable. I'd probably give it close to that. Okay. So you have two different versions of the game. Okay. $70, by the way. Not pretty expensive, but you know, but hey, you know, if you'll get your money's worth, the game's definitely good enough. Okay, so you spend $10 more. That's kind of terrible. I kind of feel bad. Like, this is just kind of silly. It can only be played on Steam. That kind of just sucks. You spend money for the songs, you can get them on, like, YouTube or something. That's just kind of silly. Okay, but then you spend $10 more for that, then another $20, you'll get the DLC pack, and you're thinking, oh, that probably includes everything. That probably gives me everything. No, this is what it includes. This is what that DLC pack includes. Which is basically some personas, some background music, and stuff, and outfits. Sure, which, honestly, you could probably mod those in. Don't tell him I said that. Actually, you'll probably know I said that. Okay, but let's look at this now. And you can see the ratings on this. Oof, mother. Gotta wonder why. $35. Okay, $35. Okay, let's just... $35 for DLC... That came with FES, guys. This was part of FES when you bought that way back in 2008. Okay, 2008, you get that. They try to justify the price with like these two random DLCs, music and costumes, but let's be honest, who the frick? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. They look good, but you're buying it for this. You're buying it for, okay, maybe not the other attractive robot, but you're buying it for the DLC. This one, The Answer. And it's been out for 16 years, you know. You know, it's one thing if you bought the premium edition, you got it. Honestly, I don't think it should have been paid for at all. You should just get it, you know? You should just get it. If you spend money on this game, you spend the $70, and keep in mind, this game sold better than... I'll probably cut some footage in there of this, like where they sold like the most, like they sold like 1 million, like faster than any other game that's came out for them. They sold all this, and they have the goal to charge $35 for DLC that was a part of the original. The Resident Evil 4 Remake had this problem too, where they charged $10 for that DLC where you get to play as Ada, which was just kind of ridiculous too. I didn't even like think that was going to get added in, because it was kind of like an exclusive for one of the consoles, but that's not this game. We're not going to... But yeah. Like, they're trying to justify $35 with this. Because let's be honest, only people want The Answer DLC. That's all people want. Nobody else is going to want this crap. So yes, this is like frustrating. Like all these games keep doing this business freaking model, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, like look at like here, we're gonna play around. Look at City Skylines, okay? Let's not look at that crapshoot. Let's look at this one, okay? I have this one. I played it a little bit. The reason why I haven't played it more? Look at all that. You have to scroll. Like, look at this. And keep in mind, too, like, it's not gonna completely transform the game. Like, it'll add, like, a nice little feature, but it's not gonna transform it. Like, you have, like, frickin' City Skylines, frickin' that's just a crapshoot where you have to literally just spend lots of money on all the DLC. And that's basically just, it's kind of like incomplete game. It's like partially done till the, and then of course you guys, if you guys watch my channel, probably don't, but I like playing a lot of MLB The Show last year. And that game is just a freaking gamble for like the best cards in the game kind of a thing. Or spend a lot of money to do it. Which, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's funny. I can criticize more about that. And the Persona games have had these problems too. I mean, I don't think it's great to look at them on here, because I think you're getting the complete versions of these on here. No. But before, with these, you get like part of the game, so you spend $60 then for Persona 5, and then you wait like another couple years, and then Persona 5 Royal's out with everything. And of course, keep in mind, Persona 5 does get DLC as well. Like, that one had DLC that came out as well that you paid for. And then Royal just basically gives you all the DLC and everything. It's basically like the complete edition of the game. Which, I mean, at least to their credit, the game is complete. But, again, then you're adding stuff in. Like, this one in particular has kind of story stuff that is kind of pretty big, actually. But, yeah, no. Enough of about ranting about the game industry in general. I probably should not do that for this video. But, yeah, this is just scum completely. And I know some people say, oh, you could just get it on Game Pass Ultimate for free. You could just get the expansion pass for free. Yeah, but you still have to pay for that. Not to mention, I'll be honest, I don't want to really get that. Like, it's good, like, if you like, are kind of, like, just don't really want to own anything, you just kind of want to play whenever you want, but the problem is they just take it away, you know, whenever they want to, so. Again, doesn't destroy Persona 3 itself, because, I mean, it's still a great game, and, like I said, the DLC is just kind of, it was definitely kind of it's still part of the story, though. Like, it really is. And it's frustrating that they are not including it with the game, and they're making you spend $35 on it. Like, this is ridiculous. I hope this will change. I hope people don't buy that DLC, but they probably already have. I mean, after all, like I said, this game has sold more than anything else. So, it's just, oh man, what a mess. Alright, now that we talked about the business aspect, let's get more into those dialogue changes that I talked about from the original. And just don't pay attention to Twitter, okay? Like, that's just not a good idea for this kind of conversation. Definitely best to kind of look at the facts of it and just kind of base your opinion on that. Anyway, though, let's just start with the most obvious, because everybody knows about it. It's pretty known. I mean, hell, you had even Kotaku. I'll put footage of that in there somewhere where frickin' they're just talking about how great this is, that they changed this scene. But firstly, let's just see both of the scenes. You'll see Portable, because that's the footage I have. We'll show that one first, and then we'll show Reload's version. And then you kind of get to watch both and kind of get an opinion of it, and then we'll kind of talk about it after.
pressure, but appears in the media. Getting jiggy with confirmed, please I'm telling ya. Anywhere you be, from New York to Siberia. Cut up for your own beat and shake it every year. I'ma put it down, grabbing this crown. $1,000,000 on the ground, gonna double up now. 65 to 4 to 3, 2, one more time. Heavy punchline about to cruise. Let it go, let it out, let it go, let it out. Take a deep breath, deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Lay low, lay high, lay low, lay high. Until you feel the vibes that touch the sky. Let it go, let it out, let it go, let it out. Take a deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Lay low, lay high, lay low, lay high. Until you feel the vibes that touch the sky. Feeling no pressure, but appears in the media. Getting jiggy with confirmed, please I'm telling ya. Anywhere you be, from New York to Siberia. Cut up for your own beat and shake it every year. I'ma put it down, grabbing this crown. $1,000,000 on the ground, gonna double up now. 65 to 4 to 3.
This sucks. We're 0 for 3.
There's a woman over there all alone. It's unusual to find someone not in a group.
No boyfriends to be seen in the area either. I think we're in the clear. Alright, time to make contact. Excuse me, miss.
Oh, hello. Can I help you?
Oh, she's hot. Say, you here alone?
Yeah. And I'm so bored. I've been watching you, by the way. You've been trying to pick up girls for a while. Well, how'd you do? I see. You boys are cute. But you know why you didn't succeed? It's because you don't understand what a woman feels.
Guess I can't deny that.
You in the hat. You're way too wrapped up in yourself. Shouldn't you be thinking more about how to make your partner happy?
Yes, ma'am.
You in the t-shirt. You're the type that's stoic, but not very experienced with girls.
Yeah, I guess that might be true.
You seem like kind of a hassle, too. Like you're super logical about everything. And you, with the long hair. I'm not sure about you. I mean, you're mysterious. Like, no one can ever tell what you're really thinking. You know what I mean? Oh, you're so smart. I think you're just my type.
Hey, wait a second!
Just joking. I like you a lot too.
Really?
Want me to tell you what would make me really happy?
Yes, ma'am.
Could I ask you to help me put on my sunscreen?
What? I mean, you're alright with that?
Of course I am. I have enough for you too.
Oh, man. I'm really sorry, guys, but I'm not passing up this chance.
Would you two like to join too? I'll give you a good deal.
A deal?
You know that sun in the sky isn't real, right? That's an artificial sun that got sent into space back in the 1980s.
Huh?
You didn't know? Turns out that sun sends out harmful rays that mess with your body's equilibrium. Normal sunscreen doesn't work.
But that's where this special one comes in. And if you opt in right now, you can get 3 bottles for just 300,000 yen.
Hey, doesn't she sound kind of strange?
What the hell? Don't just leave me behind!
What? You're leaving?
This sucks so much.
So what do you think? Yeah, that's kind of the thing with the reload. It's just, it's not good at all. Like, it's just, ugh, cringe, honestly. Yeah, and the original one, the reason why I would like it more, it's not necessarily that it was, like, a super funny scene in the end of the day. I mean, like I said, there's no dialogue, like, in the new one, which that was one thing that did better with that. But if you understand how much pain those guys were going through trying to pick up a chick, and then they get to that spot where they just see this pretty woman, quote unquote, and then they just, you know, and then things are going well, and then it's like, oh, it's just a dude. It's just like, that's the funny part about that scene. It's just like, oh, you were like right there, and then it's just a dude. It's just like, but hey, I mean, if you don't like trans characters in video games, I mean, hey, the Reload took that one out for you, so yeah, it's just, I don't get it. It's just kind of silly. You know what was funny too is there were people that were like showing off a clip of it that wasn't even the right clip of the game originally. It was some modded version, which was pretty funny. Now, I'm not gonna show any of this stuff. I could also show the crappy takes people have about this stuff, but again, privacy and anonymity. I'm just gonna keep it as is. Or just, if you want to look, you can see them on Twitter. They're too bold. They ain't taking them down. But that is not all. There's a lot more to talk about here. So, and I'm gonna show you guys a few of them here. We're just gonna have them go through real quick, and then I'll kind of talk a little bit about them after it as well. So let's just go ahead and show you what I found.
Most basic military tactics. We'll call this Operation Babe Hunt. Someone new out here. We'll call this Operation Yakushima Beach Fling.
Good morning. Yes.
Was wondering, what is the best way to say bye to a friend? As in, what is the most culturally accepted?
Yeah, keep in mind though, guys, that those scenes are just some of them. There's more. I don't want to, like, I've already spent nearly an hour reviewing this game, so I don't want to put every single thing in here. I'll talk about a few though right now though. But yeah, you can see a lot of those, they're small, but they're there. And the fact that they're there is kind of concerning to me. And it's just, man, like, I hate, like, especially some of my favorite scenes got altered too. Like, the first one is Yukari's social link. There is a action in there where she's trying to go get her purse because she lost it or whatever. Or wallet, whatever. She lost it. You wait there. That's still the same. But then when you get to the fight in the original, you just straight up just charge those thugs and beat the crap out of them. There was none of this. Whereas in Reload, you talk to him first, and then you beat the crap out of him. It's just like, man, dude, it kind of took away that charm of him, you know? He's just like, gives no F's about anything. He's just gonna freaking protect his lady. And then Mitsuru's one. That one annoyed me a lot, because you know how much I like Mitsuru if you haven't watched my review fully yet. You can tell how much I really pay attention to hers. I had a microscope on hers, and I caught this. But yeah, there's literally, like, in the original 3, you would, like, be there on the thing, blah, blah, blah. And then this punk, this freaking entitled brat that's wealthy and all that, and power and all that, freaking talks all this crap, and then, you know, all this, and he just straight up charged that guy and freaking put his hands on him, or at least you could do that if you wanted to. And obviously I did that, if you can't tell. And then the original, or the new one, you don't do that. You just kind of sit there and talk, and it's just like, oh, man. It's such a letdown. Like, I really enjoyed the original one with that. It's just like these scenes. I'll probably put up the Reload version to kind of talk about these. I don't have the original footage from 3 because I didn't record at the time when I played that game, so that's not there, but we can have the Reload footage in that. And then also I do want to mention this as well. I actually didn't have this when I wrote it down, but the hot springs scene has been changed to, like, there's 3 different versions of this. There's one version on the original, one version on Portable, and another version on Reload. It's ridiculous how many different versions of this scene there are. It boggles my mind, honestly, just like sitting here talking about it. It's nuts. There's 3 versions of this scene. And it's just like, oh my god. Oh my. The meat of it's still there. Like I can't hate on it too much, but why? Like, if these changes were not that big of a deal, why did they change it to begin with? Like I said, a lot of the dialogue and stuff is still similar from the original. It's still similar. And there's some we're gonna get to translation stuff in a second. I actually got some stuff we can look at for that, because I don't know Japanese, so I got some stuff, we're gonna look at that in a minute, but like, you have the original scene where you basically were in there and you got to control your guys to get out of there. You had to be crafty with that. Portable, you had to basically choose the right options or you got screwed over. And then the third one is kind of the same thing as Portable, but different options, different choices on what you could do. I'd say that one, though, the new version, I got really lucky I didn't get caught when I did it. I thought I was going to, but I didn't somehow. But yeah, no, so just very annoying. Scene changes, dialogue changes, very annoying. A lot of them are small, and you might not notice. If you didn't play the original, you probably don't notice, and you probably don't care what I'm saying. You're just probably gonna be like, hell, you're just freaking a complainer. But hey, man, these changes can become a problem, and I'll talk more about the changes, kind of the wide scope of it after I go through translations, because that's really important as well. But yeah, let's get to the translation now, since I keep talking about it. All right. Now let's go look through some of these translations. Thank you to this gentleman for that, because let's be honest, I don't know Japanese, so it's gonna be impossible to figure that out. So we can look at this first one here. We can clearly see why they got rid of this one. I don't think there needs to be more said about that one. But yeah, no, of course this stuff gets changed. This one. Oof. Man. Yeah. This is just kind of how it is with translations, you know. And that's the sad thing, is most of these you will not. Oh yeah, it's this one. It's this tiny little one right here. But yeah, no, cause these things you're not gonna probably notice, cause I said, I'm not gonna know, cause I get the version that I get, and you know, it's like, oh, I don't see it much. And then of course you have this one that changed a lot too. Keep in mind, this is FES to the new one. It's not portable necessarily. Now that one's had some changes too, and it's just annoying. Like, you look at these, like there's quite big differences that give you a different feel for it. And then of course the Yuko stuff here, where stuff was completely changed. I'll be honest, I didn't really like her social link when I played this game, so it didn't matter to me, but you can see clearly that they did a lot to change it. Because for this one, it's like, oh, it shows that she doesn't want to put the effort in, and then this one's like, oh, she just didn't know anything, and it's just like, kind of ruins her character development, honestly, kind of, in a way. And then more of it. This is like the big one that he found out, was this one. It's just, yeah, some of the things people get offended by is just kind of ridiculous. Like, look at that. Like, look at that huge difference there. There's not really much. I just wanted to kind of show it off. But, like, you can see that they do change how the feel of the game is. And obviously, it's the meat and potatoes of it there. Yeah, but again, you're changing kind of the meaning of what we get from this. Because, like, go back to this one. You get somebody that's just flat out lazy to somebody that's unmotivated. Big difference right there. And of course, this kind of stuff. It's just very annoying. Like honestly, like, this is just ridiculous. How, and you know, and it's just like, I would love to just scream and yell about this, but it's just like it's just around so much, and I'm going to keep pointing it out every time, but it's just like, man, it's not just going to keep going no matter what. And keep in mind, older games from Atlas have done this. Catherine did that. Persona 5 Royal has done that. Other ones have done this stuff too. And these were translations too, so this happened in the original 3 as well. And it's gotten way more aggressive in Reload than any other one. Well, maybe Catherine Full Body's up there too. That one's pretty bad as well, but you know, this is just like, sure, it doesn't completely ruin the game, but the problem is looking out into the future of these games, because these whole stories and all this are not gonna have this kind of feel. They're gonna cater more differently. They're gonna tell different stories. They're not gonna go this way because of who it could offend. And like I said, that's a big part of these games. I mean, any game in general, but like, that kind of worries me about games like Metaphor or Persona 6 in the future. Makes me worry about if these games will have good storylines and will still be enjoyable to play, or if they're just gonna just kind of cater and just completely just ruin like the feel of the story. Take a lot of the life and energy out of it. Like I mentioned earlier with the Yukari stuff, it's like, it's still there, but they just take a little bit of that excitement out of it. That's a lot of the thing with the games that have been coming out, is they're just kind of stale. Like, there's nothing that I will go back to and like remember when it comes to the story, and it's just kind of a letdown in that regard. Like I said, it's still good though. This game is still good, and it's definitely something you want to look out for in the future with these games. Hopefully they don't turn out bad. I'm hoping, because I really do like this series, but there's no guarantee of that happening. Alright, so with all that, my final thoughts on this remake is that it does a pretty good job. It was definitely very well made. It's faithful for the most part. It's kind of hard to say that, because like I said, we just looked at a lot of the translations and dialogue that were kind of messed up. They added some new gameplay elements that were fun. Obviously, like I said, the dialogue took away from it. It's definitely, like I said, pretty good remake compared to a lot of others. There have been remakes that are just Resident Evil 3 anyone. But yeah, no, for a remake, it was very well done. Definitely happy about it overall. Like I said, I'd probably give it a 9, but yeah, those dialogue options, man, it's hard to say. I will say, though, I definitely like FES more over this one personally because of that story, because of not being absolutely brutalized by the translation and scene changes like that. But besides the point, if you haven't played Persona, should you play this one first? Probably not. Like I said, the higher financial commitment, you're not getting the complete version of the game because you're having to spend another $35 on top of the $70 to get the whole experience. So you could go Persona 3 FES. I know it's old, but you could go that route. You could emulate it. You could try to find a copy used. Actually, funny enough, the copies of those actually went up after this came out. You would think it would be the opposite if it was good, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe people like that original one more. Anyway, though, you could actually get it from the PS3 store still, I think, if it's still up. Hopefully it is. But that could go away at any point, and you still need a PS3 to use it. I think it can run on the... Can that version run on the Vita? It was funny, I didn't mention this earlier, but somebody actually played it on the PS4 and did like the remote play or whatever crap that was. It's called PS4 Link. They used that to play it on their little Vita screen. That was really cool. I thought that was worth mentioning. But anyway, since I wouldn't recommend that route, what would I recommend instead? I'd probably recommend Persona 4 Golden, actually. Like, that game is pretty good. Complete full experience, $20. You usually get it on sale for, I think, 40% off, so it's like $12 usually on sales. And, you know, those sales will come around a couple times a year easily. So, you definitely just have a little bit of patience, get a pretty good deal on that one. I definitely think that one's... I definitely have appreciated Persona 4 Golden more as I've kind of let it sink in a little more. But yeah, no, that one's probably a good one to get into. 5 Royale's pretty good too. Albeit that is a higher cost, and the hardware for that is still more. I mean, obviously Persona 3 Reload's more demanding than Royal, but Persona 4 Golden can run on pretty much anything. They did put a patch in to make it not run on 32-bit systems anymore, so that's kind of a little bit of a downer. Because it's not like that version did anything new, but... yeah, like I said, I'm happy with it, so definitely if you're a fan, you probably already bought it, but yeah, if not, that's what I would say. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review today. It's a lot of fun making it. There's a lot to talk about with this game. Let me know what you think about it. Did I talk enough? Did I not cover something that I should have covered more? Did I critique it enough? Or should I have critiqued it more? That is one thing I think about a lot, because I definitely could have went a lot harder on the changes with the dialogue and stuff, but try to be somewhat reasonable with it. Anyway, though, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
However, even I understand the significance of inviting a gentleman into his own room. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love for you to guide me through it.
So trusted you.